Okay, so the audio's starting now.
Oh, okay. Where's the is there like a separate website that you guys are viewing this on, or?
It's just on YouTube.
Just the YouTube stream.
Oh, okay. Very fancy.
I just do it. It's like easy for me to do it because I have another computer right here.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
same.
Yeah.
Dude, the most streamed is Hillary because she reposted on her story and then it wasn't even an actual episode.
What? Hillary is the most viewed?
Besides Chris, actually Chris is, never mind. Hillary's the second most still.
I mean, that's like chronological order though, right?
Yeah. Damn, y'all need to watch Hillary. Y'all need to watch Kira's. Kira's was gas. And Annie's. Damn.
Is that the one with like the Minecraft car with like the fire?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a Lego car. I just blurred it and then you couldn't tell.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
I think my Photoshop skills have gotten like this much better.
Nah, they're pretty gas, bro.
I was pretty happy with the whatever the thing you made for me. That was I liked it. That's my new WhatsApp profile picture.
Oh wow. I'm
Really? That's funny. What is this, bro? Not the elbow dap up emoji. Oh my god, that's funny. That's funny though.
I thought it was like two walruses kissing or something.
I'm posting as soon as the show ends. Nah, 6.
Should I take my TikTok username out of my name? I feel weird being the only person with something in my name.
Nah, feel free. Feel free to advertise it.
Kevin, you have to put something too then.
Okay.
Oh, deadass. Deadass.
Alright, done.
All right.
Video is live.
Bless you.
You swallowed water wrong.
Inhaling, bang. Bang straight to your lungs.
Yeah. It absorbs faster that way.
Ah. Gets you going faster. Gets you up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, the video is indeed live, bruh.
Are you nervous, Kevin?
Yeah, probably. I don't know, it's fine.
Anyways, we're starting now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Unlock the Swag. My name is August Escandon. This is my co-host,
Kevin Zhang. We're here today with Robbie, and we're going to figure out what makes him.
So cool.
Okay, yeah. Like, what are our pronouns? Sorry. Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Robbie, what do they call you besides Robbie?
Oh, good question. I'm glad you asked. They it's mostly just Robbie, but sometimes Robert when it's
Bob? Any Bobs?
No, never Bob actually. Very rare. That's very rare.
You don't
Yeah,
like a Bob.
But maybe when I'm older, I could see being a
when you're bald.
Yeah, that's right.
Valid.
No, Robbie has the good hair genes. Look at it.
Well, no. Well, so apparently they say that like your mom's dad is who your hairline is most likely to like be modeled after or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And well, he's bald, so so I'm enjoying the hair while I have it at least.
Yeah,
it's an interesting statistic.
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually true, but yeah.
All right. What are your pronouns?
He, him.
Cool. I'm also he, him.
Me as well.
Great. So you're a writer. You're studying philosophy at McGill University.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you do?
Well, it's a good question. Yeah. I mean, right now, especially just because it's like final season and whatnot, I'm pretty absorbed with that. And also the book, because this is kind of like the end of December is kind of like the crunch time, or like now is crunch time basically. So that's mostly what I've been into. I do running a lot. I like to go on hikes. I actually started weightlifting over quarantine.
Oh,
Gains.
Yeah. No, because my dad was like, I mean, you wouldn't know it looking at me, but like my dad was like really into weightlifting, like back in high school and college. So he was kind of showing me the ropes. So I've been trying to get on that. So that's been fun.
That's pretty impressive.
But yeah, probably the main activities I've been doing as of late.
Okay. So like, I don't know, to me, you look pretty ethnically ambiguous. What's your ethnic background?
It's basically like 3/4 white, 1/4 Japanese.
oh wow! Never would have guessed. Wait,
Yeah, no, I mean, no one ever thinks so. Like here, yeah, most people I think I'm from India. That's what I get most often, at least. I don't know.
Wage and check.
Wage and check. More like,
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever, like not like half and half, rather like whatever word I would. Anyways.
Wasian is the word. Okay. Do you feel like very connected to those ethnicities, or?
Not, well, I don't know. It's definitely like, because you know how it's like the third generation kind of seen as like after that, it's sort of like I mean, obviously not always, sort of like the link is broken, as it were. Like, like my kids would have pretty much no connection to like Japanese culture, for example.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something I'm kind of like thinking about, because I'd like it not to be that way. I mean, I took Japanese in high school. I mean, that kind of thing. And then my grandma, my Japanese grandma, I mean, she actually lives with us. So that's definitely helped a little bit in terms of, feeling a little more closely tied to it. But yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, like I would never live in Japan, I think. And yeah.
Wait, is it because of like the lingual barrier, or just like, would you like travel abroad and live there for a year? Because like obviously Japan is romanticized, but obviously it's romantic.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, I too at one point kind of romanticized Japan, but at least I don't know it. And like I'm no like expert, so I don't want to speak too like authoritatively over it, but it's definitely a place that seems like it's on the decline in many ways. And
you've been, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also very like, I mean, I know that I would never be accepted as I mean, I think a lot of it does have to do with looking Japanese, which obviously
that is true. For sure.
Yeah, and it just I mean, even my grandma has said she would never move back to Japan, if she had the chance, just because for her, as well. And keep in mind, I mean, this is like post-war Japan that she grew up in, so it was obviously a little different then, but she felt like it was very constrained by like culture and tradition, and like you kind of have the weight of like it's just there's a different kind of historical weight that I think there is in the West, or probably more aptly like the United States. Not to say that there isn't one, but I think it's of a different kind of character.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know, and I suppose that's just kind of and also work life. I mean, this is kind of common knowledge, I guess, but yeah, work-life balance isn't exactly
a thing.
Not known.
Oh yeah, God, yeah, exactly. That's true.
Yeah,
that's why I was like only like a year abroad, like most.
Yeah.
I feel like I would probably want to do that, but yeah, living in a whole different country is still like wild. Like as much as we shit on America, I'm still not doing anything here.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
So,
is there anything that you've like been learning about in your philosophy classes that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah.
you mentioned like the concept of purity and the concept of debt.
Yeah,
And,
give us some insight.
like we write questions beforehand, and then we just like saw that you wanted to talk about this, and then just had no idea what to ask.
Yeah, I
So,
have
like-
no say.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of just, it's not directly what's in my philosophy class, because I mean, I'm just taking like an intro philosophy class. It's mostly about how to like read papers and analyze them properly and understand argumentative progression. But yeah, in terms of purity and debt, like in terms of the kind of the way we conceive of the world, it's, I think, often bound by concepts of purity and debt more than we realize. And so, I mean, for example, I mean, well, so one book that I've been reading that's been quite interesting is called, aptly, Debt. But it's a lot more interesting than it sounds, and it actually goes into, it's essentially looking at debt and economics from an anthropological perspective and kind of going back in time. And, you know, one of the things it says is that there never was really a bartering system. That's only something that occurred in systems that used to have money, but that for some reason there wasn't money. And that really before there was like paper and coinage, what there was instead was just systems of debt. And it might have been calculated, I think, commonly on, you know, say like a stick, and there would be like notches made into the stick, and that would be sort of like a tab. But one of the concepts that was really interesting is the way that debt can be used essentially as a tool, not as a naturally occurring thing, but it's something that you can put onto someone or onto something or into a system where you create that feeling of debt. And that's not necessarily to say it's always malevolent or it's always malignant, but that it is always there. And that in a way, even our interpersonal relations it's through like kind of like a sort of system of debt, as it were, you know, kind of like a back and forth, and you're constantly repaying and receiving. And then I suppose in terms of purity, I'm trying to think of like a good example right now, but it's one of those things where I think people oftentimes have much more, their lives are dictated by concepts of purity much more than they necessarily realize. And even going past the, you know, I mean, I know that there's, you know, all the you know, like what, you know, when we think of like purity balls or whatnot, you know, like in a sexual kind of sense. But also in terms of like, I don't know, this is kind of a bad example. This is just what's coming to me off the top of my head. Let's say they were like a vegetarian, and it was like they ate a piece of chicken, and then it's like, oh, the counter resets, you know, as opposed to like, that's not really what it's about. It's about reducing meat consumption. It's about, you know, like for, you know, whatever reason it may be. It's not about the purity of it. It's about the net effect, you know, and kind of just that way of looking at it. Yeah, I feel like I'm not explaining it that well.
Okay. Talking about debt, like in like a very interpersonal way, is it like when you say we're always like feeling the debt, is that like when we feel obligated to like show people like respect after they show us respect, or like?
Yeah, I mean that's certainly part of it.
Is that, but is like that what you are thinking of when?
Yeah, I mean,
do you have other examples maybe?
Yeah, so I mean, even in like, say like a conversation, I mean, there's like a back and a forth, and you know, it goes back and forth, and it's a balance that goes between the two. Because and that's the thing about debt, like it's not about actually repaying it. It's about the process of repaying it. You know, it's about, you know, like for example, like I mean, I have all the things that I might be wanting to say or whatever, and you have all the things that you might be wanting to say.
Yeah.
But if we never talked, you know, there would be no exchange. And so you would never get the value that comes through that.
Yeah. Okay, that kind of hurts my brain, but like,
yeah, that's a lot. I will say I can understand the concept of purity and like how it dictates people's lives, because I feel like definitely, yeah, like even like okay, obviously like the most straightforward example is religion, right? But I think it carries over into a lot more like things people do, and like I think the vegetarian one was a great example because it's like one piece of chicken like isn't the end of the world theoretically, but like people who have been on vegetarian diet for years will go crazy if they accidentally eat meat.
Mhm.
And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's also just like the way people carry themselves. Obviously, it's like a moral standpoint too. But I feel like personally, yeah, I think I always try to hold myself to like do the right thing, quote unquote. And like obviously that sounds cheesy, but I think I actually like end up being too harsh on myself for doing something that's pretty inconsequential.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's kind of interesting the way we like almost.
Yeah. It's kind of concerning to me though, a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean it. Yeah, I mean it's kind of one of those, and this is kind of something that I've been thinking about a lot, where it's sort of, we have our concept of the world and like how it should be, and all this kind of stuff, and what we hold ourselves accountable to. But at the end of the day, it's I mean it's this theoretical structure that exists only in our head and only in the heads of others. Not to say that it's not valid, but that it does only exist there, and that we are the ones creating it every day with our actions. And sort of, I guess there's a point where I feel like, at least theoretically, I don't think I've gotten to this point, but I think there is a point where one could sort of see it as separate from oneself completely and be able to look at it like a tool and say like, okay, well, here's how I'm going to, like, this is what I want to achieve with this theoretical framework. Here's how I'm going to change it so that I can live a more, so I can live a better life, so I can be a better person, so I can blah, 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 blah.
Yo, I'm gonna have to rewatch this, bro. I'm gonna have to rewatch this and like re-explore. Oh my brain. Okay.
I don't think enough about purity to talk about it.
I don't know. I think I think about it. I think accountability is definitely like once you start being accountable. I don't know. I think I held myself too high of a standard, and it's like I should just live my life because and like trust my own intuition. But whatever, man. Okay.
We're going to talk about purity of moonshine.
Oh, yes.
Senior year.
Senior year.
You made some moonshine. Can you tell us
Yeah.
about that? What the fuck?
Yeah, no, it was, I called it Mudge. Mostly because it's just a gross sounding name, and it was like just like brown, like, but I mean, it did the job. I think it was something like the guy at the store told me that yeast should give a yield of something like 15%. And
Yeast?
yeah, it was like champagne yeast or something. So I think it was like a higher, somehow, like, I don't know.
I don't know alcohol.
Yeah. So that was definitely, yeah, it was basically, I was trying to make some alcohol, got a 5-gallon bucket, bought the ingredients, and then it was ready. And yeah.
How do you feel about that? Would you call it like an experiment? Science project?
So, I mean, yeah, it was just kind of, it was between that and kind of like, I mean, how else am I going to get alcohol? Like,
I would say that's a pretty unique experience. I don't know many people who have brewed moonshine in their lives.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I guess I can say the first time I got anything more than like, I mean, I'd had like glasses of wine before or whatever, like actually like feeling the alcohol, it was on my own brew. So that's a
high off your own supply.
That's right.
I think a question we would like to ask is what languages do you speak? As I think you mentioned, you have interest, passion for language, culture, vibes.
Yeah, I mean, the only ones I speak with relative fluidity and not even fluent, but just conversationally, I guess, would probably be German and French. French because I took it in high school, and then German because I lived there, and then I actually took Spanish this last semester at college, which yeah, I made the mistake of taking, well, one, I thought that college language classes would be the same as high school language classes, which is not the case.
Are they far more accelerated?
I think so, or at least at McGill. I guess that's what, after I'd already signed up for the course, that's what on the McGill Reddit, that's what people were saying. But not only that, but I also took the year-long course that was condensed into a semester.
Oh, nice.
Oh my
So
god. Oh my god.
yeah, it was definitely yeah, it was like just an elective I thought would be fun to do, but it ended up being like my most time-consuming class. Luckily, it's over now, so I mean.
Wait, so is this your second semester then?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, so finals are still going on, so it's, I guess, the end of my first semester, really.
Do you take classes in the spring, or am I tripping?
You're tripping. Are you tripping?
Or, yeah, I took classes. So I started school this fall. That was the
Okay.
start of college.
First semester?
hmm
Wait, but why'd you, are you in like a, okay, you know what? It's fine, bro. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
And so you're starting your freshman year a year after most of us started our freshman year because you took a gap year and went to Germany for most of it. Tell us about that. What did you do?
Well,
How,
yeah, I essentially, it's kind of like you get there and you're with 25 other Americans. And for the first 2 months, you're just learning German intensively. That's just what it is. And you're all everyone's in the same city. It's in Bonn, which is like half an hour south of Cologne. And so, that's a lot of fun because class is only like 4 to 5 hours per day, and the rest of the time it's pretty much free. Then after that, you actually go to German high school for 2 to 4 months, depending on your liking. And that was an experience, I will tell you.
How does it compare to our New Mexican high school?
It was I'm glad I went to the school I went to. It was definitely good for like learning German. I think part of it was like I was literally just there, like I didn't even have to do the homework. So there was definitely like you get the feeling where it's just kind of like, why am I here? Like after the first few weeks.
Yeah.
Because afterwards you do like actual internships where you're like, and it's like people were doing all kinds of stuff. Like some people were like working in hospitality, some people were baking, some people were, doing political or like business internship kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there was someone who actually worked at a brewery. And yeah, so I did that for 3 months. Then I worked at an English school. It was like so it was a full-time preschool that was like supposed to be for learning English for like, kind of just like immersion. And then as well, it was an after-school kind of private tutoring school for English. Then after that, I was with the local Green Party. And in Germany, that's like actually like a party that like it's not like in the US where it's like you can kind of just ignore them. And then, then after that, I worked at it. So, in Germany, there's like different, and I think in most of Western Europe, actually, there's different kind of tracks of high school. So it's like there's the track that you go to for when it's like you're here to then go on to college, and that's called Gymnasium. Then there's Gesamtschule, which is something like Gesamt means kind of like like you're just
General
thing. Yeah, and so I think it's for people who kind of aren't sure. And then there's Realschule, and that's definitely much more towards more like practical jobs, like welding or that kind of thing. And then there is Berufsschule, and that's for like you're like, yeah, like I am going to be a plumber, or something that's like a vocation essentially. And I'm explaining it rather poorly. I don't remember all the finer details, but essentially the point is I went to a gymnasium for when I first started. And then afterwards I ended up, when I was doing the internship at the other school, I was at a Realschule, or maybe it was a Gesamtschule. But point is, it's like there's definitely like there's a different kind of environment. It's less academically focused. In terms of like hard, like, like you need to learn this and like you have to take multiple languages and like that kind of thing.
It seems a little more like towards practical sort of like job skills.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
I thought, it definitely has its benefits. And I think there is I'm not sure exactly to what extent, but I think there is a fair amount of looking kind of the US looking at Germany and kind of seeing how their system is and maybe trying to apply it to the US. Because it definitely, it's I mean, we essentially have like a one size fits all, which doesn't actually fit all, kind of system. And so I think it definitely works better for some people. The only drawback, though, is that once you're kind of in one track, it's hard to move to another one. So it's almost like in 6th grade, you kind of have to have an idea of what you're going to be doing for like your profession, which is, I mean, obviously you can't really.
Scary.
Yeah. And I think different places, it's to a different extent. So I don't know exactly how extreme it is, and I think it depends a lot on personal experience. But for example, if you weren't to go to a gymnasium based off of your grades in elementary school, it would be a lot harder to try and be a doctor, like just like stuff like that. So yeah, I think if you know early on what you want to do, it's definitely better. But if you don't, it can be a little bit kind of trapping, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. I think we want to direct the conversation towards your book and like I guess if we have enough time,
The Golden Sun.
Yeah, conceptions of self and identity.
Yeah.
So yeah, your book is about conceptions of self and identity and like how that sort of, I guess, rubs up with society. Like societal influence, maybe.
Yeah. No, I think it's kind of. I mean, in many ways, it's just kind of my thoughts on the world, kind of put into book or novel format. And I mean, essentially, it's this guy as he goes on a train, and it's modeled after the Trans-Siberian Railway, where he essentially just meets different people. He talks with them, finds out about their backstory, whatever, all this kind of stuff. But it's kind of set in, it's not quite like our world that it's set in, and it's definitely not set in Russian or in Russia. But and it's sort of like it's in the industrial era, but point is it's just supposed to feel like a different kind of world, not quite ours.
Yeah.
And in it, one of the big things, one of the big themes, I guess, that it deals with is sort of ideology and, again, like concepts of purity and concepts of debt and, what is what is the role of the individual in terms of the outer world, what is, especially with technology, a lot of the book is kind of just sort of trying to figure out without directly naming technology, but sort of like, it just leads to this kind of pervasive alienation. I mean, like even through social media, it's not that people are just documenting their lives on it. I mean, they're living their lives out through it, like it's a fundamentally different way of experiencing the world. And it's one that I think no one really knows the full extent of the implications to.
Yeah.
Like through social media, you see like a very specific lens.
Yeah, especially with COVID, it made it worse. It drasticized it so much. Yeah, so basically, I'm gonna use my phone less. That's all.
Is that the point of the book? Is like the book?
Oh yeah, I didn't. That's not what I'm saying.
Arguing that we should all be using our phone less.
No, that's not.
Oh my God. That isn't a direct argument, but I think that wouldn't be a bad conclusion to come to. But
I mean, yeah, agreeable. I guess, what did you learn about yourself when you're writing the book?
I think one of the things I did is sort of each character comes from, not to sound like dramatic or anything, but there's an extent to which each character comes from kind of like a part of myself that I hadn't necessarily fully analyzed, but then I made it into its own character, and so I was able to kind of really look at it more and kind of, ask myself like, well, what does this mean? What is the purpose of this? And I think one of the main things, and this is actually something I talk about a lot in the book too, is sort of like, do you see yourself as a protagonist in your own life? And what is your life to other people? What is your life to yourself? you know, and are you setting yourself up for disappointment if you think you're the protagonist of your life? You know, like, are you just going to find one day like, oh, well, I guess I'm not. And, you know, that would be a hard truth to find out. But at the same time, I mean, there's nothing saying you can't be. And so it's sort of asking yourself, well, what kind of mindset am I going to have? And honestly, that's been something that I've been thinking about myself, and that I don't directly answer in the book, but kind of more just put in there and kind of delve into to kind of get the reader to kind of, you know, ask themselves what they think. That's definitely, I would say that's probably been the biggest thing that kind of like surfaced out of writing the book.
Yeah, that's actually really, really interesting because, okay, you said, like, when we asked you about what you wanted to talk about, you said you didn't know pop culture trends particularly well, but like one of the like most like brain tingly things is like a lot of people have been like going around, oh, I'm the main character of my town in my Subaru Outback. So it's like everybody has like been thinking about that a little bit, and like I don't know, like I talked to one of my friends and she was like arguing with her other family members that she is the main character of the family, and like everybody else in the family is like a side character around her. And like
that no, I think and I have kind of like seen a little bit of that. I mean, I am on Instagram, like I do follow like meme accounts and whatnot.
Of course.
And there is that one meme, I don't know if you remember, but it was like just this is, I guess, sort of like a meta one, but it was like, today is the first day of the rest of Ariana Grande's life.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny when I first saw that. But I get, you know, I feel like it kind of plays into that, like, oh yeah, like you just like, this is her world, we're just living in it. No, yeah, it's interesting. And I think there's increasingly a split between the concept of self that people have and the, I don't know, and sort of like the kind of the communal, like the sense of community, the conception of the community is being increasingly broken down. And I think a big part of that is social media, because you have your own feed that's tailored directly to you.
Like apps like TikTok are definitely very damaging.
Also, we've like, I guess, like steadily like been seeing an increase in like celebrity, and like, and then like I guess it's like hard to like see like a news article or something about a celebrity and then like not be like, oh, this is the next day in their life, which would be damaging to the community, because it's not the community's doing something, it's Ariana Grande.
Yeah. No, I think and that's a big part of the reason why there's an extent to which I purposefully try not to keep up with like the celebrity gossip or whatever. Like, I think honestly, I think I can say my mom knows more than I do. Like, she'll literally tell me things and I'll be like, oh really? Because she's on Twitter, so like she kind of like hears about all this stuff. But yeah, you know, because, and one thing, I listened to this podcast called Philosophize This. And there was this one philosopher, I'm trying to remember, like I listened to this like probably like 3 months ago at least. It might have been Marcuse, someone from the Frankfurt School, for anyone who's interested. But essentially it was talking about how in the modern era, we've elevated celebrities to kind of have this like they have this extraordinary life. And if only we can get some of their greatness. And I mean, in doing so, you're kind of also, you know, obviously you're putting yourself down by engaging in this narrative.
Idolization's definitely gotten out of hand, to say the least.
Yeah.
You big thinker, Robbie.
Yep. I think we'll wrap it up and we'll give you this little quiz speed round.
We have one more question.
Okay. My fault.
Robbie, what is the secret to your swag?
Okay.
Oh,
we're doing that first, Kevin, and then we're doing the thing at the end.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Robbie, what is the secret to your swag?
Thonking.
You just gotta be. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I think there's an extent to like truth in that. Like, things become cliche because they're true. So like, I think
What?
like there's truth to saying like, yeah, you just gotta like be yourself. But also, I don't know, and something I've been learning more recently just for myself, and I guess this goes back into like kind of the, if you're the protagonist of your own life, is kind of not to have the sort of metacognition on every situation that you're in, kind of thinking like, oh, well, how am I going to like strategically go through this, or like, what do they think of me? But you just kind of like push that stuff out of your life. Be the most exorbitant you that you can possibly be, and you will find that your environment tends to shift towards that. Obviously,
Yeah,
That's
that's definitely something I'm like do too much. But I think the breakthrough my friend and I came to was that we need more distraction and less introspection. But with the pandemic, it's fucking difficult. But you know, well, I mean, like obviously it's not normal life. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Come a few months.
That
Well,
sounds-
I totally agree though. It's very
Yeah.
okay. Time for pop culture or not?
Um.
All right, I got the screen share already. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Oh.
All right, Robbie. Is this
Like
pop
game
culture
show?
trend or is it not? Ready, set, go.
Wait, pause.
Oh, we're not ready.
The thing is like, how do I like, okay, there you go. That works.
Is this a pop culture trend? Robbie, tell us.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
It seems like
okay,
there are more houseplants as of late.
okay, fair.
Next.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. Heard.
We don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, I have seen that. I don't know what the deal is with it.
Pop culture trend or no? Or
Oh,
yes.
I mean, what is there a trend about it? Like just the existence of the picture?
Yo, actually though, Batman is bad superhero, perpetrator of capitalism. Anyways, next.
Pop culture trend or no?
Oh yeah, no, it's right. Isn't it like pink hair is like that's the main character? Like you gotta have.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe I don't know.
Dang.
That's what I'm asking you.
That's a pretty.
Oh. Wow. Yes.
All
Okay.
right. Mullet.
No.
No.
No? Okay, I mean
Kevin has a mullet. Kevin has a mullet. Show him.
Oh.
Spicy mayo.
Spicy mayo.
It's pretty
I
much
feel like that just seems like common sense enough that would be a thing.
okay, valid. It's pretty good. It's good with sushi.
Sourdough. That was like a thing at the beginning of the pandemic, right? Like everyone was like, here's my sourdough starter.
Is that a thing? I wouldn't know. I don't know bread like that.
Is that it? Do we have
No. One more. That's the last one.
disposable cameras?
Cameras. You gonna say no?
Wrong.
Oh,
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. Me and August have no idea what pop culture is either, because I don't think we don't like subscribe to like Ariana Grande and like Taylor Swift. Like I don't know. That's just not who. That's not what we're attracted to. So like as a result. Also, like what would you define pop culture as? Like, what are some examples?
Oh, real last question.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I'm just thinking like, I don't know, like TikTok trends or
well, because you just said, you weren't really up to date, quote unquote. So I think it'd be a good perspective to offer.
Yeah, I mean, and for example, like the celebrity gossip or the latest
TMZ.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I don't know, like I always hear like later, like, oh yeah, there was something that happened with this artist doing, and I just never know. I guess that was mostly what I was referring to. Yeah, I try to stay away from TikTok.
It's a blessing and a curse.
No, actually though, it's like so much creative inspiration, but also I don't know, don't even want to name the cons.
Anyways, thank you so much for coming on our show, Robbie.
Yeah, it was great having you.
Yeah.
Very insightful. I'm Kevin.
Robbie Schaefer. He has a book. You can order it somewhere. We're supposed to have that in the bio. I don't know if we actually do.
Is it Indiegogo?
It's
Yeah.
Indiegogo.
Yeah,
You
sorry.
It's
can
like a pre-order campaign.
Oops.
There's something like 10 days left, so like if you're gonna order it now if you would.
Yeah. And together with our audience, we are Unlock the Swag.
Oh wait, okay.
Oh.
Also, this is the last show of the year. Thanks y'all for the support across our first shows. We'll be back in January, and we got a ton of swag. Okay, cool people lined up.
Swag.
Oh my God! Have a good New Year's and holiday season. I don't even know. It's really just to everyone.
All right, Dad.
Whoever watches that.
Dad, cut the cameras.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass. People, I just started hearing people say that, and like I don't know what it's from.
I'm gonna go pee. I'll be right back. Wait, are you still on? All right. Anyway.
Thanks for coming, Robbie. That was pretty epic.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I need to get this Indiegogo campaign link in the
You want me
bio.
to send you the link?
Yeah, do you want to send it to me?
Yeah.
Wait, what's happening next with that? Like, is it just going into production?
Yeah, so essentially, so the book actually isn't finished. It still needs to go through like professional editing. So essentially though, I'm trying to get it out by late April. And the pre-order campaign is there so that it covers the costs of printing, of making an ebook format, of paying for the editors, that kind of stuff. So that's why we're doing it now as opposed to later.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are we still live?
No, we're not live anymore.
Yo, you trying to talk about communism?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. We had another banger question, but like not time.
Yeah, but like we already went solo.
Art within capitalism is always influenced by capital and like the need for money.
Mm-hmm.
How has that affected you in your book making, like art making process?
Yeah. No, I mean it's funny because I mean it's there in many ways my book is like anti-capitalist, and here I am making an Indiegogo campaign trying to like raise money to get it, like
crowdfund. Yeah,
and it's just there's definitely, I mean, and I think it's valid to say you can't take yourself out of the system completely. I don't think, I think there will be an end to capitalism as we know it now. I don't think there's going to be some big revolution or whatever. I found that generally to be rather...
It's not possible. People are too greedy.
Yeah, no, I mean, not even from a human nature standpoint, but just, I guess I find the, and I'm definitely kind of, I follow those kind of like really, really leftist accounts that are like, like it's, revolution, like get your AK-47s, like that kind of stuff. And it's hard for me to look at that and see that as something to take seriously. There are definitely, there are many like really gravely serious problems with it.
Yeah.
The problem is, I think people tend to, when they don't have capitalism, they see the alternative as communism. But both of those ideologies exist within thinking of the human as primarily, first and foremost, as a worker, as someone who creates, not as a human being in themselves, right? Because under communism, I mean, like no one was like, I mean, you had like a week of vacation or something per year, I want to say, in the Soviet Union. I mean, it's not as though it's all sunshine and honey and whatnot. And I think what needs to happen is to get away from both of those ideologies and get out of that ideological like room, essentially, and say, okay, what is the more humanistic thing we can do?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have any thoughts on like what the other room might be?
Well, there's actually she's a German philosopher named Hannah Arendt. She essentially talked. She's essentially who I got the most of this kind of like way of thinking from, And one of her things was saying like, yeah, like we have had the breakdown of community in modern times. And I'm, I have not, I need to read more of the actual books. I've mostly just watched, interviews or the podcast about her, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But essentially it's to say that there's this breakdown of community. And in fact, there are no tools we have to actually change our system. We're consistently making ourselves almost victim to our own theoretical framework. And essentially what she was saying is there needs to be more community and civil discourse. And that's how we get past this. That's how you start to. And that essentially would be a slow process. And this is kind of all the stuff, the Frankfurt School. I don't know if she's considered part of the Frankfurt School, but she's definitely in that area. Their main thing is kind of like looking at Marx. That's kind of the starting point if you were to describe them on the most basic generalizational level. Is to say, looked at Marx and they said, okay, well, it doesn't seem like communism was that successful. Any current communist states are really just capitalist states under the guise of communism. So what did he get wrong? What's the next place to go? And they looked at that and that was a big part of the ideas that they came out of, is that, this end to capitalism, it's going to be a slow process. It's going to be a gradual process. And that a big part of that is going to be putting the human back into our world.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that process is something that like we're starting to see?
I think maybe. I think the more, I'm really not sure. I think right now what our generation or our time period is going to be defined as is just how there was the Gilded Age and kind of the post-industrialization age where, we had all this new technology and there were no labor laws and people were dying and they were living horrible lives and all this kind of stuff. We're going to look back on our current times and see the same thing with our current technology, with Facebook, with computers, with, just the internet in general. Mm-hmm. And so I think there will be sort of a collective understanding that, like maybe we haven't, maybe this isn't the best way to go about it. For example, I don't think our generation is going to be letting 2-year-olds play on iPads, for example, or whatever the equivalent will be,
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
And I think we are kind of we're at the very tail end of those who haven't grown up with that level of technology. From a very young age, I'd say like once we were 6 or 7, that's kind of when it started.
Yeah.
And we just don't know the psychological effects. I don't know. I think it could really be, and I think it is a big part of what is really, it's not good. Like, it's just like,
yeah, it's like, I don't know where, obviously not scholarly, but I don't even know where to begin. We just know it's bad, but we don't even know why, which is why it's so scary.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's like
vaping.
It's probably bad for your reward systems in your brain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's an interesting question in terms of like if we're going to come to this end of capitalism. One thing, there's a contemporary philosopher from Slovenia named Slavoj Žižek, and he's actually pretty famous. He has a lot of videos. He's kind of like as close to a celebrity philosopher as you can get without being like Jordan Peterson or something. Mm-hmm. He's not like Jordan Peterson. Just to be clear, but one of the things he said is that for most people, it's easier to imagine a lack of ideology in a complete anarchist state than it is to imagine a world without capitalism. And it's just to say the ideology is so much a part of our lives that unless you really get down to it, you can't really see what is and what isn't it. It just seems like it's everywhere and it's ubiquitous and it's a part of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Shit, what was the bottom line of that?
What do you mean?
Can you just say it again? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So essentially, like what he said is that it's easier for us to imagine a complete anarchist, like breakdown of society. Like it's easier for us to imagine the end of civilization than to imagine civilization without capitalism.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay, agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, where to go from there, I think one can say that the best way, that's why it's so important to know yourself and to know how you are perceiving the world and what your inherent biases are. And of course, we're always bringing this baggage with us. I mean, there's no way to get rid of it completely. But to become more aware of it, that's when you can look at this theoretical framework that is in the end in our heads and outside of us, and be able to say like, okay, I mean, what do I accept about that and what don't I accept? And collectively, we can then move forward. I think it requires that kind of self-understanding.
Yeah, you have to understand the world that you want to make, sort of.
Yeah, And really even just understand the nature of the current world you live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's deep.
Oh shit. Yeah, bro, I gotta go read some shit.
You have any books that you would recommend, Robbie?